Hello everybody and welcome back. As promised, this video will be all about my Raspberry Pi first generation, and this lovely little computer now served 2 or 3 years as an Airplay server, and that was its only purpose. But now I want to give it some more jobs, and I want to do what a lot of people do with their Raspberry Pis. I want to connect it to the TV. So it plays back the media from my NAS, and I want to use Kodi for that. But one thing I want to achieve is I want to use my Apple remote with the Raspberry Pi. I hope that's possible. I have a spare IR receiver from a MacBook, so the newer ones don't have them included sadly, so I bought one and just soldered it to a USB cable. And I hope I can use it also under Linux for the remote. That would be really cool. Alright, but now I take you to the TV and show you where the Raspberry Pi normally serves its purpose. Okay, so this is the place where the Raspberry normally lives. It's behind the TV, and it has an HDMI cable here, power, USB for the sound card I'm using, which is connected to my stereo, and also an Ethernet cable. Yeah, and that's just the basic setup. And now I'm going to prepare the SD card with Arch Linux, and that should be a really fast process, so I will be right back. Okay, so Arch has a simple installation guide for installing Arch onto the SD card, but you need a Linux PC for that, so I'm using my Arch virtual machine for that, and then I'm just gonna follow the instructions, and then you can put the SD card back into the Raspberry, boot it up, and then everything should be ready to log into SSH, so you don't have to connect the keyboard or anything else. Okay, so the SD card is prepared. Let's put SD card in. Also connect HDMI. Okay, USB, Ethernet, and power. Now let's see if everything worked and it's booting. The LEDs are flashing, so that's a good sign. Okay, let's see whether the Raspberry has still the same IP address. Oh, and it does. Okay. Of course I have to fix my SSH keys here. Okay, let's connect again. Yes. Okay. Password is alarm. And we are in. Cool. Now I'm going to set up my user, change the host name, just the boring stuff, and then we get to the more exciting stuff. Okay, so I'm back on the PC. And I've set up the basic stuff in Arch Linux, and I also set my USB sound card as the default sound card. I show you how I did this. The first thing I did was to check my sound cards that I installed, and the USB card I want to use is card 1, device 0. You have to remember that, and then I edited the file user share alsa.conf, and in there I changed the default PCM card to 1 and the device to 0. So if you reboot the system, the USB sound card is the default one. The second thing I did, I created the file etcasound.conf, and I added this part here, because otherwise ALSA would resample the 44.1 kHz audio files to 48 kHz, and with that setting it always uses the standard native setting. Then I tested it with a simple WAV file with Airplay, and yeah, maybe you can hear in the background it's playing, which is cool. And now it's time to install Kodi. And there's a separate package for the Raspberry Pi, it's called Kodi Raspberry Pi. And that could take a while to install now, so yeah, I will be back. Oh, Okay, so Kodi is installed. So the next step is to increase the GPU memory. I already did this. Let me show you. I've increased it to 256. Let's see whether the system RAM is now too low or if it's okay. Then we want the hardware acceleration working, so we install this. As well as the video driver. So install that. Okay, so that's installed. Now the last step is to add this UDIF rule. Okay. Cool. So that should be working now. Let's also try to install the Apple remote stuff first, so we can actually control the system when we try it on the TV. For that I'm going to plug in the USB receiver, but I show you how it looks like afterwards. Okay, so it's plugged in. So let's install the tools we need for that. Okay, so that's installed, and the receivers are connected. We can see it here, built-in IR receiver, and the USB device that we have to use probably is this one. So let's edit this config file. We are using device 0. I have to do this sudo. Okay, and then we have to create this file. Let's see if, yeah, the folder's there. Okay, let's copy that one in here. Cool. Save that. Okay, now let's start the service. So the service is enabled and started. Now we can use this command to test the remote. I'm now going to the TV, to the receiver. I'm pressing the buttons, but it does not work, which is not good. I don't know what I have to do now. Okay, so I fiddled around a lot. It took some while until I got it working, but let me show you what I've done. I've just restarted the Raspberry Pi, and let's hope it's still working. And it is not. Well, I finally found what's the problem. There's this config file which contains which device is the IR receiver and which driver it should use for this device. But somehow when I start the service via system D, it does not work. It doesn't read the file. But if I start it manually, like this, and I have the driver and the device as arguments. Oh, that's already. And I start the daemon like this, and I open IRV. All the buttons are working, and that's very annoying that it doesn't read this file. I don't know why it doesn't read the file. There's no error message or something about it. So what I'm now doing is I modify the systemd service and add the arguments there, and hopefully it should work then. And to do that I'm copying the service file to this directory, and this directory should have a higher priority than this one, so the system should use my modified version and not the installed one. So let's add the arguments there, save that, that's good. I don't know whether I have to disable and enable it again, I just do it. Okay, let's start. Let's see the status. Oh, there's still one running. Okay, so to kill this one, start again. See the status, and it's running with the correct parameters, so let's test, and it's working now. Oh, finally. Okay, that's nice, good. All of the, oh, that's a crazy amount of tabs I've opened here. Now, now let's jump to the last bit, where we set up the remote for Kodi. Okay, so now let's add the correct key mapping for Kodi. And we have to do that in here. This is the file we need, but our device name is not this one, but Apple IR. And we can find that here. That's our device name. Okay, so I'm starting Kodi, and I think the best thing is I put here up the tripod so you can see the TV. Okay, the TV is up. I'm now going to start Kodi over at my PC. Okay, now let's see what happens. Ooh, okay. Cool. Oh, this takes a while. Oh, actually not too bad. Oh, and okay. The remote is working partially. Oh, let me get a light here. That is better. The remote is working partially. The right button is not working. Left is working. Let's see. OK is working. Ooh. Down is working. Up is working. Not sure if menu is working. But every time I hit OK, it's registered 2 times, which is not very good. But okay, I fiddle around a bit more with the settings and then I will be back. Okay, I've changed some settings, so let's have another go. Right is still not working. Oh, now it is. Okay. OK is now working correctly. Nice. Cool. So it seems everything is working now. I don't know how to go back. That's a problem. Menu button is not working. Okay, so I've now mapped the menu key to back. Let's see. Absolute nothing. It seems like I have some issues with the USB remote disconnecting and reconnecting. I'm not sure what I want to do about this now. I think I'm first gonna restart the Raspberry Pi and see what happens. Maybe I need a powered USB hub or something like that. Okay, the system is back up. It's working so far. So let's go into settings, and I also can go back. Very nice. Okay, now the next step is to install the Emby plugin. I have to download the repository from the Kodi, from the Emby homepage, and then we can install it over this menu here. Okay, so I still had the problems with the disconnecting USB drive, so I added a powered USB hub now, and let's hope that that was the problem. So, well, yeah, remote is not working again. Oh, that's great. Alright, so the USB hub also didn't work. The USB devices just showed a lot of errors in the logs, and yeah, I think I have to buy a new powered USB hub. So I've now connected only the IR receiver and the sound card is not connected. So let's hope that everything works now and we can at least set up everything. So first I want to set everything to English. Okay, so I installed a new skin. It's called Mimic, and yeah, it's super fast, looks very good. Also the remote is still working, so it is I'm pretty sure it's a problem with the USB power. So the first thing I want to do is enable Airplay, and also sound over HDMI is working now, so it's okay. I can watch something using the HDMI output. So I've enabled Airplay, which is nice. Let's try the keyboard. I want to call this like the system name. It's now pretty responsive and the remote is working super fine. Okay, that's cool. Let's go back. Okay, but now let's install the Emby plugin. I've downloaded the repository to the temp folder. So let's go to add-ons, install from zip file, root file system, here temp, and here's the repository. So let's install that. Add-on enabled. One thing I noticed now, I have to disable the screensaver, because otherwise the remote stops working. So I have to restart Kodi now, and then I have to disable the screensaver, and then we can install the Kodi plugin. We just installed the repository, so there's still the plugin missing. Okay, so I'm now in the add-on browser, so I have to go to install from repository, Kodi add-on repository. Oh no, that was wrong, Kodi Emby add-ons. So let's go back, Kodi Emby add-ons, video add-ons, and there is Emby. So let's install that. Oh, I'm excited. I'm so looking forward to using this properly now. And I'm really glad that the HDMI sound is now working until I have a USB hub. So that's cool, really cool. Oh, that was fast. Okay, now what's the next step? And now it already found my server. That's cool. I want to use that server. Julian. Okay, I have to look what I have to use because of the hardware acceleration. So the native version is definitely the one that is better for performance, because it directly plays the files from the server. But then I would have to mount the file system to the Raspberry Pi, and I don't want to do that because I don't have the NAS running at all times. That could be problematic. So let's just try out the add-on playback mode and let's see what happens, if the playback is good or not. Come, Julian. Okay, now it's doing the initial sync, which could take a while, I think. But let's see what happens. Well, it is a couple of days later, but I've made good progress with the Raspberry Pi. The streaming of the Emby files did not work for a long time, because Kodi somehow couldn't access the files on the network share, although I could access it directly from the shell, but Kodi couldn't access it for some reason. So I've read a lot in forums about this problem, and I found a solution by using NFS instead of Samba shares. And I'll show you how it's set up on the NAS in a second, but let me first show you that everything is working fine now. So let me go to movies. It is not the fastest with the Raspberry Pi 1 navigating around, but yeah, all my movies are now here. Nice with cover and everything. And let me play one. This is also a bit slow. The opening the stream takes about 10 to 15 seconds most of the time, but well, it's okay. Well, this didn't work. I have no idea why not. I couldn't find any error message in the logs that provides any information, so let's just try again. The file is accessible, it says in the log messages, which is the important thing. So okay, it's working now, I think. Oh yes, okay, that's cool. So let me open up the menu. We can select all our audio settings here, like language. Yeah, it's all a bit slow, but it's good. It's working fine. I don't mind if it's a bit slow. Yeah, and what's really cool, when I go back to the main menu, the video is still playing in the background. I can do whatever I want. I can search another movie or go to TV shows. Let me select Boardwalk Empire, season 1. Yeah, and here you can see now it's a bit slow everything, but yeah, now it jumps directly to the next episode I want to watch. So let's open that. It's taking some time, but the video in the background is super smooth. Just the UI is a bit slow, but the hardware decoding seems to work perfectly fine. So that's the important thing. By playing a full HD movie in the background, it's really slow. Oh, and it didn't work again. I don't understand why it doesn't work the first time. Okay, I have to go and check what's wrong now. Well, maybe you guys remember the pop-up that appeared after I installed the Emby plugin, where I could select direct play or something else. Well, it seems like I should use the direct play option, because it then directly accesses the files without going over the Emby API and stuff like that. So it should be a lot faster opening the file. So it should not take 10 to 15 seconds anymore. But you also lose a few features, which is not so cool, because you, for example, lose the transcode option, so that the server transcodes movies that your device can't play back. For example, I have some videos that are H.265 transcoded, but the Raspberry Pi won't be able to play them back smoothly, because it doesn't have any hardware support for it. I think it's not too bad when I lose this feature, because I don't think that my server would be able to transcode H.265 to H.264 in real time while playing back. So I think I have to convert those videos first and put them back into the library, and then everything should be working fine. So to change this setting, we have to reset the local Kodi database. And yes, we want to reset everything. Then we also have to sync everything from the beginning with the Emby plugin, which took quite a while. But yeah, yes, remove everything. Reset the Emby add-on. Okay, now Kodi is restarting, and then we can set up Emby fresh and new again. Hopefully everything works fine then. This option should be the safest option, or the option that should work with most setups. Okay, it's fired up. Let's wait for the Emby plugin to load. And there it is. Yes, that's our server. I'm Julian, yes. And now I'm using the native direct paths option. Yeah, and then you lose the Emby cinema mode, where trailers and stuff like that are directly played before your movie, and some other features like the transcode options and parental access, which I don't need. So let's go for native. No. And this is the thing that didn't work. I put in all the network credentials, everything I could. The share is accessible, but Kodi couldn't play it. So, but with NFS, I set just the folders with the movie contents and stuff like that as read only, but public accessible. So I don't need network credentials. Yes, I don't have any music in there. Okay, and now the sync is gonna take a while again. But in the meantime, I can show you that Airplay is working. You can go to Settings, Network, and then you go to Airplay. Then you enable the Airplay support, and then there's one important setting that's only, I don't know why, but it's only accessible when you show the expert settings. but it's an essential setting if you have iOS 9 or higher. You have to disable the Airplay video and picture support, otherwise it doesn't play back any music. And yeah, to see that setting you have to enable the export mode. It's a bit stupid, but everything works fine then. So let me get my phone and let me play back just to like the first album that's there. And let's select the Airplay Server. Okay, and now it's playing back. It took a while, probably because, oh yeah, and it's lagging. Probably because it's now too busy syncing. The CPU is probably at 100%, but as you can see, it shows the name of the album and everything, which is nice. Let me stop this. And yeah, no, I tested it for a few hours and it's playing back without a hiccup, so it's probably now because the server is syncing. Yeah, let me show you how I've set up the shares in Emby. Okay, so this is the Emby dashboard again, and if you go to a library, you can find the path substitution here. And in this section you define where clients can find the directory which contains your movies and stuff from the outside. So in this example it's using the NFR shares. It can find them with the server name and this port, and under this directory it can find all the movies that are in here. Yeah, and that's for all the directories I use. That's the thing you have to do if you want to direct play your videos. But why direct play? Direct play has a few very important benefits. The first one is it doesn't use any resources on your server, it just plays back the file from the network. And the second one is that it's faster and more reliable, because Kodi handles everything and the server doesn't have to transcode anything like that or something like that. So if direct play is possible, it's best to use direct play. And the only thing that's now missing is the sound card. So I have to order a USB hub, a powered USB hub. Then I can set up the sound card and then everything should be working fine. But let's see whether the native mode now solves the problems with the files that didn't play back. Okay, so the first sync is finished. So let's have a look at TV shows. Oh, and there are now a few more. Oh, that's cool. Most of them are not tagged correctly yet, but that's a problem on the server. Cool. Season 1. Oh, I hope it works. I really want to watch now episode 5 of Boardwalk Empire. Let's hit play. Ooh, looks good, looks good. Nice. That's nice. Ah, finally. Okay, let's have a look. Sound. I don't think it has any sound options, no. But it's nice that the subtitle works. Yeah, I'm pleased that it works now. Okay, I think that's it for the clip. The last clip will then be when I set up the sound card, and then this whole Raspberry Pi saga will be hopefully finished if everything works correctly and fine. Well, it's actually quite some time later than the last clip, over a week later, and things have changed a little bit with the Raspberry Pi setup, because I could not get the Apple remote working reliable. At first it worked fine for like 10-15 minutes when the system was started, but after that Kodi and the daemon for the IR remote just went up to 100% CPU usage, and the remote didn't work anymore. And this happened every time. So I've spent a lot of time researching. I didn't find any solutions that were working, and now when the daemon for the IR controller is started, Kodi is always running with 100% CPU power, even when it does nothing, and the remote stops working. The remote still works when I don't start Kodi, and I'm testing it with the IRW command, I think. The remote works fine, but as soon as I start Kodi, it stops working. So I've given up getting the remote to work for now. I hope that a later Kodi update will fix it, but yeah, I'm not too sure. But otherwise, the system is working really good. It's reliable. Otherwise, the files are smooth in the playback. Airplay is working fine. So from that point of view, it's working very well. The remote situation is not too bad actually, because my friend noticed the startup message from Kodi, where it says that the CEC daemon is started. And CEC stands for Consumer Electronic Control, and what it does is you can control the device which is currently displaying on the TV using the TV remote, and that's working really great. I show you how it works, and yeah, it's really cool. It's not as responsive as the Apple remote was with the directly USB infrared sensor, but otherwise everything works fine. The IR sensor is not connected anymore, it's here. Now only the USB sound card is connected. And what I can do now, here is the remote for the Sony TV. I can now control the Raspberry Pi with this remote. So if I press right, as you can see, it controls the Raspberry Pi using this CEC protocol thing over HDMI. So I can go to, let's go to movies. Here are now my movies. Let's play 21 Jump Street. And what's really cool about this, you can also use the play, or let me get a focus. You can also use the play, pause buttons on the remote. You can fast forward and stuff like that. It's working fine. The return button is not, even the return, I just noticed even the return button is working. So yeah, it's really cool. Let's hit stop. Also working. So I can use the remote and don't have to use the phone, which is a big plus. Okay, one other thing I had sometimes problems with was the USB sound card. After some time it just outputted weird noises and stuff like that. I could fix that by going into settings, go to system, go to audio output. Here's my sound card selected. I fixed the sampling rate, and this is the important setting. I've enabled keep audio device alive and set it to always. And if you enable this setting, the sound card will not go into a standby or suspend mode. So it's always active and don't place any weird noises when it gets reactivated. So all in all, I'm pretty happy right now. It's the setup is working pretty good. Okay, I think that's it for this video. Maybe it was helpful for some of you, and if somebody of you has an idea of what might be wrong with the IR receiver setup and Kodi, leave a comment down below and I will try to fix it. But for now I'm pretty happy with the TV remote and that it's working like this. So one remote less to use, which is also nice. Yeah, and if you have any other questions or any other stuff, just post it below, and yeah, I will catch you in the next video. Cheers, bye.